Hey everyone, it's Ciaran from Plum Deluxe, and today I want to show you how to make the best eggnog from scratch using our gingerbread chai. So I love the gingerbread chai for this recipe because it has a lot of spice to it that you might find in eggnog, which is kind of a seasonal beverage. It also just adds a lot of really great flavor. Let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is an ounce of our gingerbread chai, 6 eggs, and I recommend getting the best organic, whatever the best eggs that you can afford. Get those for your eggnog. The freshest you can get them is also going to be the best. We're going to also need whole milk and heavy cream, or like whipping cream. If you can also get those organic, great. So, and brandy. You're gonna need some brandy. And if you don't like brandy, you can use rum as well in this recipe, but brandy is your most traditional and it's my favorite. So I've actually already gone ahead and done the first step, which is to steep the tea in the brandy overnight. So all I did here was I got a nice big jar and I did 2 tablespoons of the gingerbread chai to 4 ounces of brandy. And obviously I've scaled up the recipe because we are going to want 1.5 cups of brandy. And I'm probably going to make some more eggnog throughout the season. So I just went ahead and I think I quadrupled the batch. So I've got about 20 ounces of brandy in here, I think. So we're only going to use 1.5 cups of this for this recipe today. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and strain some of this brandy out into a glass. Put our tea over here. So I let the tea just steep in here freely. You could put it in a filter bag if you want, but I like to give it a little room to really move around, expand, and steep up in the jar. So then I'm gonna just balance this. I'm gonna put a little strainer over here, and I'm just gonna strain some of this right on out into this other jar. And so then that brandy is going to be ready to use in our recipe. And I did taste this earlier. It tastes great. It smells really good too. You get the different spices, flavors from the gingerbread chai right there in the brandy. So I'm going to set that aside for now. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to separate out some eggs. So like I said, you're going to need 6 eggs, and you want to start by separating the yolks from the whites. So I'm going to do what's called the 3-bowl method, which is crack the eggs in one bowl and then separate out the yolks in a bowl, and then we'll dump the egg white into our larger bowl, and this kind of just helps keep shells out. If a yolk kind of breaks up and messes things up, it's not messing up your entire thing of egg whites. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try. My hands are very clean. I'm just gonna use the classic separate it in your... I'm gonna try the eggshell method. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to try the separating it in your hands method. And, okay. So that egg yolk started to break up. But the egg whites are safe. So we're going to do this for 6 eggs. Okay, so now we have our egg yolks and our egg whites separated. So we're gonna set the whites aside for now, and we are gonna stick with the yolks. And it does help, so if you have a few bowl sizes to choose from, choose a larger one for your egg whites, because we are gonna come back to these later and they're gonna need a lot of room in the bowl. So to the yolks in my bowl, I am going to add 1 cup of sugar, and we're gonna whisk it up until it is smooth and creamy. So, got my dry measuring cup, but we're gonna use this one. And do, let's see, it's about 1 cup of sugar. Okay, so 1 cup of sugar. It's gonna go right on in there. And we are just gonna whisk this up until it is smooth and creamy, and it should turn into like a lighter yellow color. So, fun facts that I learned about eggnog while I was doing research for this is that you can actually age your eggnog with the alcohol in it for several weeks, and it actually helps improve the flavor and the texture of your eggnog. You do have to have a certain proportion of alcohol to other liquids. So this recipe is actually, like I said, I'm going to be using 1.5 cups of brandy, and that is just the right amount. This recipe, I could age this. And I might try it with one of the batches. But you can also serve it right away. So I think that's looking pretty good there. We dissolved. It's a raw sugar, so I think we're going to whisk it a little bit more so it gets nice and dissolved. Okay, so to this, we're going to add our dairy. So let me close up my sugar so I don't spill it. Okay, so our dairy. We are going to be adding, let's see, 2 cups of whole milk. So let's see here. So 2 cups whole milk goes into here. And then 1 cup of our heavy cream. And again, I do recommend getting organic if you can. Well, I think it's just tastier. And if you are going to be consuming something with raw eggs, I don't know, be safe about it. Another fun fact is that the alcohol that you put into your eggnog actually keeps bacteria from growing. So studies have been done, and it is extremely, extremely hard for bacteria to thrive in the amount of alcohol we are putting in this beverage. So if you are nervous about consuming raw eggs, there are ways you can cook your eggnog and to kill off potentially any bacteria. Let's see. Traditionally, though, it's raw, just like this. Let's see. So we're gonna do the 1.5 cups of brandy. So we're gonna add that on in. Okay, so throw that right on in. This smells amazing, by the way. So we are going to carefully whisk this all together. And then I'm going to pour it into a pitcher. Now, ideally, you would want to refrigerate this for at least an hour if you can. It does help thicken everything up, helps the flavors meld. You can also serve it right away if you want to. That in there. And at this point, I could also age this for up to several weeks, and then in the meantime, freeze my egg whites for later. But I'm gonna refrigerate this for an hour, and then we'll be back. Okay, it's an hour later, if you can't tell by the fact that it's actually darker out right now. So our eggnog has been in the fridge for this hour, and it has definitely thickened up in there, which is great. Helps it get that nice consistency. Hopefully the flavors have kind of come together a little bit. So to get ready to serve this, we are going to take our egg whites, which have also been in the fridge since then, and we are going to whisk them up, hopefully until we get some stiff peaks. This is another instance where I would highly recommend, if you have one of those manual egg beaters, or if you have a KitchenAid mixer or just any kind of hand mixer, use that. I don't, so you're going to see a lot of whiskey action going on here. Okay, so we are at just about stiff peak consistency. It might be a little more on the soft peak side. I would not hold this bowl upside down over my head. But I think this will be good enough for our eggnog. So what we're going to do next is we are going to carefully fold the eggnog and the meringue together. And when you forget your large spatula, you use a spoon. So I'm just going to do it this way and fold this all in a little bit at a time. Should just give it a nice fun and frothy consistency. And theoretically, it should make some of the meringue come to the top of the glass, kind of like a little cappuccino. Okay. So once that is all folded together, I'm going to pour it back into my pitcher, and then it is just about ready to serve. So gently pour you back into there. I can pour it into my glass. So we're just going to pour it right on in there. And we're going to grate a little bit of fresh nutmeg right on top. So here is our tea-infused eggnog. You can see the some of that nice meringue is coming up to the top there, so you get a really nice little layered cocktail kind of look. It's great for the holidays, anytime throughout the winter. It's just a really nice, hearty, warming, and delicious beverage. So, cheers! God, that's good.